Hey all, welcome back. We're here with Natalia back again. This will be the final out of the three parts, which is cool. We're going to be talking about your nonprofit,
Yes.
Solidarity Initiative.
Yes. The Solidarity Initiative.
It's won an award from not an award, but it was featured on Dear Neighbor for one of their businesses, like nonprofits. I'll you talk about what it is in case I'm guessing a lot of people might not know what it is.
Yeah. So, I started this, well, it didn't start as a nonprofit, actually. It started as a podcast. So me and my friend Matt, we had this idea because we both felt as though he was the only Black student in our entire high school. And that was really hard for him to process, especially during the turmoil of 2020. So we were kind of talking about what can we do so that people feel that they actually can know about what's happening, but not feel as though they have to know every single thing and everything like perfectly. Especially because whenever we talked to friends our age and just people in our high school, they felt as though in our political climate, you have to be perfectly prepared with what you're saying, with your facts and your knowledge and your opinions and everything like that, that if you're not prepared in the way that other people may need you to be, you aren't welcomed in the conversation at all. And that just doesn't feel right. And that's not right, because anybody and everybody should be involved in the conversation, because that's how we gain justice and that's how we gain solidarity. So we had started the podcast, just calling it the Solidarity Podcast. And it is on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and any other streaming service. So you can literally just look up the Solidarity Podcasts. We have a few episodes there. And our first podcast had talked about the importance of Black women and just how feminism excludes them, but also in the workplace as well. It's a very long episode. I mean, I say long, but it was about 30 minutes. Just talking about the intersectionality of being a Black woman in America and what that looks like and what that means. And just, we literally got the facts of what, like specific facts of what we needed and just talked. Because building that gap, like I keep saying on each of the parts, but it's really important, bridging that gap of having all of these really difficult to understand words and articles that have a bunch of, numbers thrown at you and statistics thrown at you, and then the other extreme of news surfaces just screaming out your face about different opinions and what you should believe and what you shouldn't believe, is really hard to get involved in the conversation. So we wanted to make some sort of, middle of having the facts, but also conveying it in a way that is non-biased, but also informative, in especially for people our age at that time, like high school students and college students as well, because it's scary. It's scary to be part of a conversation or part of a movement that you don't know every single fact about, you don't know every single, historical moment in time that caused that movement to happen and everything like that. I think with our podcast and with our nonprofit, it is definitely about being able to have, you don't even have to be part of like a political or a social environment, but just wanting to know what's happening is incredibly important to moving our society towards a more just and inclusive area. So that's how it started out, mainly just wanting to be a podcast, conveying information. And then we started getting more traction on that, especially within our school. And so we're like, okay, maybe we should, make this something more established. So we got approved to be an actual nonprofit, and it is completely student-led. So me and Matt would do the podcasts. We would have a few people writing articles about different topics that they think were not really out there. And we had a social media and communications branches that would help get the community involved, would also do different graphics during certain movements or history months, like Black History Month, Women's History Month, things like that. So we were trying to grab different areas that were just manageable and digestible for high school and college students. So that's basically what it is. It is just a space for informative and intentional conversation, similar to how Dear Neighbor and Alana is here. It's like that for high school students as well, just because it is incredibly important to not feel like you need to be completely prepared in order to be a part of a movement. You know, there is grace for not knowing who Breonna Taylor is. There's grace for not knowing what's the importance or the significance of the wage gap. You know, there's a lot of different things that people expect other people to know, but sometimes people just didn't grow up that way. Sometimes people were shielded from things like that. So we wanted to be that bridge builder of providing information that didn't seem like overwhelming, didn't seem like they didn't know what was going on or didn't know what they could say or get involved, but literally they could just sit there, retain the information that we have gathered and that we have experienced as well, and be able to go from there. But yeah.
When did this start, Solidarity Initiative?
So this kind of started in, I want to say, summer of 2020. And right now it's kind of on pause just because a lot of the members in our team went to college because we're all the same age. So it's kind of like finding, new members. So if you want to do or be a part of Solidarity Initiative, you can go to our Instagram, which is at solidarity_IN, all lowercase. But yeah, just we're trying to figure out a way to still be a bridge builder from, different points of the country. Because, I'm over here in Massachusetts. My co-founder is in Chicago, Illinois. Other people from the team are in Texas too, or in Pennsylvania, or Austin, Texas, things like that. So it's very spread out. So it's still trying to get our feet on the ground of like, how can we still get in contact with our community over there and provide the information that we're learning here, but also transfer over there as well. So we have some students from our old high school that produce art, like spoken word, poems, or actual drawings that are important to their culture and community and that we want to uplift. So yeah, it's really just a space to express yourself in the way that society may limit you, but it's also space for learning and growing and just getting involved. So yeah.
Sweet. Are you guys still planning to run a podcast, or is that like defunct now per se?
Well, we were figuring out the technology when we were so far away, but we still have like 10 plus episodes on our Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So definitely check those out. But we had a lot of podcast ideas. So we're hoping to get those in the works as well if we're able to reconnect whenever we go back for the summer kind of deal. But yeah.
Nice. How did you achieve nonprofit status as a high school student?
That's a good question. I didn't do a lot of the paperwork things, my co-founder did, but it's a really simple process. I say simple because I was on the outside of it, but I think you literally just filed to be a nonprofit. He had the help of his mom too, and my mom as well. Like, we have kind of a board of trustees, which was our 2 teachers and other adults from our high school that wanted to help fund and uplift our nonprofit. So it's really kind of just, Googling at this point how to establish a nonprofit. Fill out a couple paperworks, turn them in, and then you'll see if you get approved. And basically just what you need to get approved is like, what is your mission? We had to make sure that we were, non-biased, so we couldn't affiliate with a certain political standard or side. So if we promoted that in any way, that would go against our nonprofit status. But
Makes sense, because you need to be neutral in these kind of issues.
Exactly, we had to be neutral.
And go from multiple lenses instead of just once.
And that was one of the main things that we wanted to do, because we didn't want to push a certain agenda or a certain viewpoint, but actually get information from both sides or from all aspects and all perspectives so that people could go and decide for themselves, not necessarily to decide like, okay, here's the information and this is what we want you to do with it. Not really. It's more so, here's information, this is what's lacking and this is what's needing. What can you do with the assets that you have in order to help and build that solidarity? Because we would have actually workshops at the end of our senior year. We would host workshops every other week that talked about really controversial topics. We had talked about the trial for Ketanji Brown Jackson, judge now, Ketanji Brown Jackson, and how she was treated and her questionings and things like that. We also talked about what it means about being a model minority myth, or being a model minority in that myth, and how that looks like for people in our community. So those are all, everything that we learned, every video that we put up is also on our Instagram. And we also have a website, just solidarityinitiative.org. You can check out our mission. You can check out ways to help us out. We also have shirts. So I'm hoping to sell those once I get back over there in the summer. But they're on our website too if you want to order them, and we can send them out, and I can bring some over back here to campus. They're really, really nice, really, really cute. And I'm hoping that whatever money that you pay for the shirt can be donated to the charity of your choice, because we're a nonprofit. We don't necessarily need the money right now because we're remote. So I want to make sure that money is going back into the community and to the mission of your choice.
I think that's so important, donating to a cause that someone believes in.
Yeah.
Because any money helps, especially for nonprofit.
Definitely.
For those kind of nonprofits.
Definitely.
I just want to say thank you for doing this with me today.
Of course, thank you.
And check out the other 2 parts, which is talking about Natalia's background. Bye-bye.